chances are, if you have over $100 billion, you wouldn't even entertain the thought of living frugally. However, if you're Warren Buffett, being frugal is just who you are. And while he could afford to buy anything he wants 10 times over, he still lives frugally to this day by following the 9 frugal tips that he absolutely swears by. Number 1, live in a modest home. When you think of billionaires, you probably picture mega mansions with exotic cars parked out front. Well, this isn't the case for Uncle Warren. He lives in the same residence in Omaha, Nebraska that he bought in 1958 for $31,500, the equivalent of roughly $285,000 in today's money. In fact, just to get an idea how much of an investment this house has been for Buffett, he would have paid about $43 per square foot for his 6,570 square foot home 60 years ago. Now it's been appraised at $161 per square foot, meaning his investment would have quadrupled since he first bought it. Now, unfortunately, there isn't a time machine that you can use to buy a cheap home yourself. But what Buffett's commitment to his homestead teaches us is that just because you make more money and grow wealthier over time doesn't mean you have to upgrade your lifestyle to match. While Buffett could afford to buy any house on earth he wants, he said in an interview that he has no intention on selling his Nebraskan home and that he wouldn't trade it for anything. So if he can be happy with a modest home, so can you. Number 2, eat cheap. It's pretty well known that Warren Buffett isn't the model of good eating habits. From frequenting McDonald's to drinking multiple Cokes a day, while his bank is rich with money, his blood is definitely rich in sugar. However, we aren't here to judge Uncle Warren's eating habits, but to highlight that even as one of the richest men on the planet, you don't have to spend a fortune in order to keep yourself fed. Now, do I recommend people live off the McDonald's dollar menu? Of course not. However, if you look at normal spending patterns of the average American, they spend roughly $200 a month on restaurants and ordering in, which if you are trying to save money, can be swapped for cooking at home in case you don't want to compromise your health in your quest for saving money. Number 3, drive responsibly. Warren Buffett's claim to fame has been his ability to identify companies of value, and as such, value is something that he places great emphasis on. However, as you know, cars only lose value over time. A new car loses between 40 to 50% of its value within the first 5 years of ownership, and given that the average new car now sells for just over $48,000, that's tens of thousands of dollars you're losing to enjoy that new car smell. This is why Buffett has always been an advocate for buying reduced-price cars, and quite frankly, his commitment to being frugal in this way is impressive. Buffett would buy damaged cars that were impacted by accidents or natural disasters, and drive them around to the point where his kids were embarrassed to ride along with him. If you thought your parents were embarrassing, chances are they had nothing on old Uncle Warren. However, the takeaway here is that your car shouldn't act as a status symbol, but as a means of getting from point A to point B. When you see it as such, you will not only avoid losing a ton of money to depreciation, but will find a new way to embarrass your future kids as an added bonus. Number 4, find affordable hobbies. While it's becoming harder by the day to achieve, our lives should be a mix of both work and play. However, what your play consists of will impact your level of financial progression, which is part of the reason why Buffett has always enjoyed frugal hobbies. For instance, Buffett is a big fan of singing, playing instruments, and indulging in numerous hours of bridge every week. Do you notice what each of these hobbies have in common? You guessed it, they are all cheap ways to have fun. Unfortunately, somewhere along the line, our generation has started to equate the amount of money we spend with the amount of fun we are having. Nowadays, it's not enough to have some friends over to play cards or have a drink at home. Instead, fun is bottle service at the club or going on vacations that can fill your followers' Instagram feed. Unfortunately, these means of having fun are inversely correlated to saving money, but luckily, there are still a ton of ways to enjoy hobbies while not breaking the bank. For example, video games are rather cost-efficient when it comes to a means of having fun. Many teens and young adults can have endless hours of fun for the cost of one $60 video game. Cheap streaming services are another good example. For $10 a month, you can watch as much TV as you want, or you can make a more beneficial choice and take out books from the library instead, in order to build up your mind rather than rotting it with these other forms of entertainment. Number 5, resist new technology. Do you remember flip phones? Warren Buffett sure does, because up until recently, he was still proudly using one. Now, of course, Buffett could have easily afforded a new phone with the billions of dollars he has, and in fact, he was even offered phones for free from Apple CEO Tim Cook for years. However, Buffett resisted upgrading his phone, and this is a lesson I think a lot of people could really benefit from. You see, not upgrading your technology has two benefits, one being more obvious than the other. The obvious benefit is saving yourself the money you would end up spending on the purchase. Nowadays, a brand new iPhone can cost you more than $1,000, and often the new phones really have little that distinguish them from the ones we already have, only offering us the ability to say we have the latest version. The hidden benefit is that the less technology you have in your life, generally speaking, the less distractions you'll have as well. If you're like most people, then your phone is basically an extension of your body at this point. And while technology benefits us in many ways, we tend to spend copious amounts of unproductive time using it. Chances are you've gone down the rabbit hole of spending an hour scrolling Instagram, reading Reddit, or perusing Twitter, while you should have been using that time to learn or make money instead. Kind of like in the same way, where as a frugal person, you want to be mindful of how you spend your money. Resisting all new forms of technology allows you to be more mindful with how you spend your time. And if Warren Buffett can make billions of dollars using a flip phone, chances are you don't need that brand new iPhone as bad as you think. Number 6, clip coupons. Growing up, you might have seen your parents regularly clipping coupons in order to save $1 here and $1 there. And you know what? They might still do this up until today. While cutting coupons is a rather ineffective way of saving money, it is a practice that Uncle Warren employs. However, the benefit of doing so isn't as explicit as it would appear to be. It would be entirely fair to ask why someone as rich as Warren Buffett would cut coupons to save a couple bucks here and there, while this clearly wasn't what led him to his billion-dollar net worth. In a way, it was a means of protecting it. You see, for the entirety of his life, Buffett has identified himself as a frugal person, and because of this, he continues to employ his frugal ways up until this day. In short, he's hardwired to maximize his money and looks for deals, which is actually how he was able to transform Berkshire Hathaway into one of the most prominent companies in the world. Some things in life come down to a matter of principle, and as such, it's not the money that Buffett saves with coupons that has value. It's remaining aligned to his frugal nature that he still feels compelled to always get the best deal possible. Number 7, appreciate what you have. Our level of happiness directly equates to the disparity between our reality and our expectations. For instance, if you expect to make $100,000 a year and are only making $80,000, you're likely to remain disgruntled until you eclipse that six-figure mark. However, if you never thought you'd even earn $60,000 and find yourself making $80,000, your reality is well aligned to your expectations, and being happy in the position you're in then becomes much easier. Through the frugal practices we've talked about Buffett employing in his day-to-day life, it's obvious that he wants for very little. It's why he's okay driving a beat-up car or living in a very modest home. Unfortunately, not all of us are as good at wanting less as we should be. You may be someone who's always wanted more. You wanted to make more, have more, and experience more. What you found was that as you got closer to the things you wanted, the amount you desired grew as well. Because of this, you never seemed to become any happier, even though you were making tremendous progression in your life. Therefore, rather than setting your metric for success at astronomical heights, you may be better off wanting a little less and making it easier to enter a state of satisfaction. Then, if you attain all that you want, it will only be a bonus versus something you need to have to be happy. Number 8, think outside the box. When it comes to kids, typically no expense is spared. Parents will literally go without in order to ensure their children are properly taken care of. However, if you're Warren Buffett, being frugal extends to how you raise your kids. Warren Buffett has admitted that when his kids were young, he used a clothes dresser he already had as a bassinet, and in another instance, borrowed a crib for another one of his kids rather than paying full price to buy one himself. Now, this extends being frugal into the realm of being cheap. but it actually shares another valuable lesson that many people could benefit from. You see, those who get ahead financially tend to do things a little different. Most of us were raised to get an education and work a job until retirement. However, for most people, this doesn't offer us the lifestyle we hope to live. It's those who do things differently that reap the real benefits. It's the entrepreneur who forgoes college to start a business, or the employee who moonlights at night who is able to start getting ahead. Now, I'm not saying that you should let your baby sleep in a dresser, but you should take some time to ask yourself if what you're doing right now to get ahead financially is working, or if trying out alternate means may be worth your while. Number 9, put relationships first. Have you ever heard the saying that it's not what you know, but who you know? I've found this to be true many times in life, and it speaks to the fact that our relationships are fundamental to living a good life, especially when it comes to getting ahead financially. For instance, if you spend a ton of time with people who are always spending money, then you yourself will do the same. On the contrary, if you're spending time with those who are responsible money managers, you're going to be more likely to adopt their habits. This is why Warren Buffett places a ton of importance on who he spends his time with, and he's been known to be very involved with his family. This is an important lesson to internalize for a few reasons. First, if a man who can afford anything he wants says that family and relationships are the key to happiness, then you can bypass all those material desires you have and derive happiness from the people you already have in your life. Second, this may save you from making one of the biggest mistakes out there, which is neglecting your relationships in the pursuit of money. As we see with Buffett, it's not the money that makes him happy, but the time with family and friends. As such, if these relationships are the key to happiness as he says they are, perhaps exerting yourself for more money may not be in your best interest after all. And if you want to learn how you can save 60% of your income, click on this next video and let's get started.